When I do this interview, you want me to look in the camera or look like this?
Oh no, I'll be sitting here.
Oh.
Yeah. This is tell you yes, so the idea that I have is to make this documentary of either a yajna and then develop it for the Sankirtan yajna. Then also we should show different types of yajna and maybe you can speak about yajna. Or if you have any other topic.
Well, I think that yajna is a good topic. I'll begin in a very basic way. The philosophy of Krishna consciousness as in certain writings, it has the name, we know the name Achincha Bheda Bheda Tattva, simultaneous inconceivable oneness and difference. But there's also another name, Shakti Parinamavad. So these two, Achincha Bheda Tattva, Shakti Parinamavad, they're both pointing at the same philosophical teaching, that God is a person, and as God, as the Supreme Person, He is an energetic being. He manifests energies, and this is how God is defined in the Vedas. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaya Shriyate. He's the master of all energies. So this, I mentioned this Shakti Parinamavad. This is a technical term which explains that the Lord is creating everything that is happening is a transformation of His energy. Shakti means energy, Parinama means transformation. This is different from another explanation, Brahma Parinamavada. There are some philosophers who say that God Himself transforms into this creation. And this can become a kind of Mayavadi philosophy, that God, He, like Prabhupada gave the example of a piece of paper. You start with a whole piece of paper, and then you tear it up into pieces. So then the original paper is lost. So this is not the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that in the beginning there is God, but then He loses His identity by becoming the creation. No, Shakti Parinamavad. God is eternally God, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but as God, He has energies, unlimited energies, and He plays with these energies, and out of this Leela with His different energies, then this material creation is coming about. And we are part of the Lord's energy, the Tatastha Shakti, borderline spiritual energy. Maya on one side, and Krishna and His Swarup Shakti on the other side. We're in between. So we can choose to be in Maya or choose to be in Krishna consciousness. So this is basic background I wanted to explain. And then to come to yajna. So, yajna is actually a name of the Lord. He is the yajna purusha, the enjoyer of sacrifice, but he is also the sacrifice, in the sense that the energies that he manifests, these are the ingredients of yajna. This is how we may establish a relationship with Krishna. We take his energies and we use them to satisfy him. So this is the basic principle of yajna. This is very, very profound and very, very essential to understanding Krishna consciousness. There are so many things that I could say, like Srila Prabhupada speaks of the Lord as the sun. This is an analogy. And his energy is the sunshine. So we cannot know the sun except through the sunshine. If the light of the sun wouldn't reach our eyes, how could we ever see the sun? So yajna is the means by which we can approach Krishna through his energies. We are within the Lord's energies, and if we do not engage these energies as the Lord directs, then we will be bewildered by them. You see, the living entity becomes bewildered by thinking, oh, these are my energies, because the Lord's energy makes itself available to us for use. So the mistake is to think, this is my energy for my sense gratification. So if we use the energy in the proper way, in service to the Lord, then just like sunshine, revealing the sun, so through the proper use of the Lord's energy, Krishna is revealed. So this is the basic doctrine of yajna.
Could you say something about the definition of yajna, the word means?
Yeah, yajna, as I said, this is a name of the Lord. This is one of his many, many names. And it means sacrifice. So the process of offering the Lord's energies back to he who is the yajna Purusha. Purusha means enjoyer. So he enjoys this process, as Krishna says, Brahmarpanam Brahmahave, Brahmagna Brahmahatam in Bhagavad Gita, that by the process of sacrifice, everything that we're using in sacrifice, as well as our bodies, our life energy, the things that we offered, everything enters into the absolute. Everything becomes, in other words, accepted by Krishna. So this is the full sense of yajna, this process of returning the energy that the Lord has manifested, returning it to him in service. And then when you consider this, then you can see what bhakti is, devotion to Krishna. Because yajna, we can say that this word is pointing to just a very basic, even we could use the word mechanical process of returning the Lord's energy to him. But bhakti, it's the same thing, engaging the Lord's energy in his service, but with love and devotion. You see, so there, now we come to the point of there are different levels of yajna, or different moods of yajna, different consciousness of yajna. So, but yajna is basic to the Vedas. So we can go as far as to say that the entire message of the Vedas can be expressed in one word, yajna. But then there's a question of different levels of consciousness in the execution of yajna. So in Karma Kanda, the Vedic scriptures that deal with fruitive work, and then yeah, okay.
parecemos un poquito tigre para atrás, ¿no? Con un aspecto, digamos, de un ángulo de 40, ¿no? ¿Qué más hay? Para la grouping del ejercicio.
Offerings are made to the Lord, but with a fruitive interest. One is looking to what material advantages, successes one can get in return by the grace of the Lord. Then you have yajna in jnana kanda, which is aimed at liberation. And then we have yajna in bhakti, but this is simply to satisfy the Lord. And the essential yajna in bhakti yoga is explained, is given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is, as specifically presented in Chaitanya Charitamrita with the term Yajna Purusha. This is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the enjoyer or the Lord of the sacrifice which is meant for Kali Yuga, which is Sankirtan. So the Sankirtan Yajna is the specific Yajna for Bhakti, Bhakti Yoga, pure devotion to Krishna. And in fact, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in explaining the Shikshashtakam prayers, he analyzes the first verse of the Shikshashtakam, Chetu Darpana Marchana Bhavamahan Bhavanivatana. He says that there are 7 parts to this first text, and these are the 7 flames, because in the Vedic explanation of yajna they speak of the yajna flame as having 7 tongues. So he says that this first mantra, first text of the Shikshashtakam of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is pointing out the 7 flames or 7 tongues, 7-tongued flame of the Sankirtan Yajna. So Cheto Darpana Marjana. Then the first tongue of the flame is purifying the heart. Bhava Mahadvagni Navatanam. Second is putting out the fire of material existence, and so on and so forth. And then that's why the verse is concluding Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtana. All glories to this Sankirtan movement, because it is accomplishing these 7 wonderful things. And so this is the comparison to a sacrificial fire of 7 tongues. So in this way you can see the thread of yajna through the whole range of the Vedic process, coming up to and including Bhakti Yoga. So yajna is essential to the whole Vedic Dharma. You take away yajna, you don't have Vedic Dharma anymore. You don't have any process anymore. The Chandogya Upanishad states that this human body is given for yajna. So in this sense then, every aspect of our human life, everything that we do in this human body is meant for sacrifice.
Could you elaborate a little bit on that, on the human body and what it's meant for sacrifice?
Okay. Yeah, so what is going on in the human body? Well, okay, so let's speak of that first, the human body. There is the gross physical body called Sthula Sharira. And the nature of this body is anna, annamaya. That means it is nourished by anna or food. So eating, well, that's essential to life in this body. So Krishna directs in the Gita that the food we take must be offered to him. And this is essential to Krishna consciousness. This offering of foodstuff to the Lord is a yajna, also performed in Bhakti Yoga. And then we take the remnants in the form of prasada. So eating, how much of our time in life is spent in eating? This is to be a sacrifice. Then there are other functions of this gross physical body. Defending or protecting it, sleeping, giving it rest, mating also, sexual intercourse, reproduction. So all of these are meant to be done in a spirit, in the form of yajna or sacrifice to the Lord. So that's the shtula sharira, the gross physical body. Then we have another material body too, called linga sharira, the subtle body, mental body. And so this also is meant to be engaged in yajna, in sacrifice. For example, in learning. The mental body, subtle body is to be cultured by education, by knowledge. And so in the Vedic civilization, young people are sent to Gurukul to master the Vedic knowledge under the instructions of spiritual teacher, Guru. And this is aimed, culturing the subtle body, mental body is aimed, so that we can use it to practice yoga. Yoga is just another form of yajna or sacrifice. And in Bhakti Yoga, what does that mean? It means to fix the mind on Krishna. Smartavya satatam Vishnu Vishmarto na jatuchit. To always remember Krishna and never forget him. So this is the best mental culture. So again, all this is sacrifice. Our activities, our occupational duties that we take in life after educational. So this is Varna Ashram Dharma. So these Varnas, they are occupational sacrifices, whether one is a Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Brahmana. These activities are work in sacrifice to the Lord. The ashrams also. These are different stages of sacrifice. For the brahmachari, there is austerity and learning. For the grihastha, there is the household sacrifices, pancha yajna, 5 kinds of sacrifices to be performed in household life. Vanaprastha, then there is retirement, austerity in renunciation, 3rd level of sacrifice, and then finally sannyas. So this is the ultimate sacrifice that a man can do, to renounce everything in the service of the Lord. In this way, the goal of everything he's doing is simply Krishna. So this yajna then is all encompassing the human life. At least the human life that's properly lived. But then again, another interesting thing, I think it must be mentioned that no one can escape sacrifice. You see, there's another sense. This is an interesting thing to point out, the word sacrifice. Sacram facere comes from Latin. So actually, the real sense of it, like yajna is the name of the Lord, sacred. So sacram facere means a sacred act, or an act that transforms our life from material to spiritual. Because this is the effect of yajna. That we're using so-called material things, Krishna's energy, but to satisfy him. And when he accepts our sacrifice, then just like when we offer food to the Lord, it becomes prasadam, it becomes spiritual, transcendental. So this way, by engaging the whole human life in sacrifice, then our whole life becomes spiritualized. But there's another sense of the word sacrifice. It means to give up. It has this sense of something people don't really want to do. They don't want to sacrifice their time or their money. They feel that this is oppressive. But that's life, you see. Either one is sacrificing willingly for Krishna, or one will sacrifice one's life in sense gratification. We have to give up this life. It's unavoidable. Everything that we accumulate throughout these years in this body, in the end, they all have to be sacrificed in the sense of given up without any consideration. No, it all has to go. Your relationship with your home and your bank balance and your wife and your children and your automobile and even this body itself, all of that has to go, be given up. So this basic sense of sacrifice, giving up, that is inescapable. So then it's just a question of how we're going to do it. So yes, we can give up in the sense of offer these energies which come from Krishna in the beginning anyway. Offer them back to Krishna. The comparison is, this is the way the Ganges river, Mother Ganga, is worshipped. Before you enter the bath, you take a palm full of water from the Ganga and offer it, pour it back into the Ganga. So this is sacrifice, taking the energies which come from the Lord anyway. They're not yours, they're not ours, but He has kindly made them available for our use. So take them and offer them back to Krishna, willingly, in love. And this way we will achieve the highest result, and that is God consciousness, Krishna consciousness. Maybe I could explain about the yajna I do, since you were talking about that film you saw. So this will just be short. I worship these shilas as you see on the altar, and the main shilas are Sri Sri Jagannath Sudarshan. So Sudarshan, as we have in this prayer from the Sudarshan Ashtakam, Savana Tejastrayimaya, that Lord Sudarshan is the form of the Vedas and the form of the fire of yajna. Different fires are mentioned here: Garhapatyam, Avaniyam, Dakshin Agni. So these are the different sacrificial fires for different types of yajna. So we find in the Vedic scriptures that the very substance of the sacrificial fire is Sudarshan Chakra, the powerful wheel weapon of Lord Vishnu, which is like a ring of fire. So Sudarshan manifests as a sacrificial fire. So therefore I perform a yajna in my morning puja because I'm worshipping Jagannath Sudarshan. And you saw a film of me performing an actual fire yajna, but I don't do that so much anymore with the fire. I'm now performing the yajna with mantras and mudra. And this, you see this little altar here in the front with the Nila Sudarshan. this wooden form of Jagannath. So this murti takes the place of the actual fire. He's situated there on a small brass and copper Yogya Kund fire altar. So I just perform yajna by mantra and mudra through him. Okay?